no, fair presentation and compliance with IFRS. We say that, no, general purpose financial statements must be presented fairly, no, in compliance or in full compliance with IFRS. In our local setting, it is PFRS. Okay. Now, the assumption, underlying assumption, although this is also mentioned in the IASB conceptual framework as the only underlying assumption, no, as far as IASB framework is concerned. Okay, so we have going concern. And then, of course, no, between cash basis of accounting versus accrual basis, what is generally acceptable is the accrual basis of accounting. Now, consistency of presentation, no, means that all accounting policies, no, that have been used, no, in the previous year should also be the same set of accounting policies that we use, no, for, no, the current year. Okay, should there be changes, no, in accounting policy, no, so it is a violation of the consistency principle, although it is allowed for as long as the entity can justify or can state, no, or can reason out, no, uh, or state the reason why there is a need to change accounting policy. Okay? And that, of course, it calls for a restatement of the previous year's financial statements that are presented, no, vis-a-vis the current year. Okay? Now, materiality and aggregation means that each material class of similar items must be presented separately in the financial statements. That's a reason why, no, on the face of the statements, no, we have items we call one line items. And such, as such, no, let's say cash and cash equivalent is one line item, and that if you'd like to know, no, or to determine the composition, no, of that one line item, no, so all you have to do is just refer to the supporting notes to financial statement. Okay, so the idea is that, no, we aggregate some items, no, or the similar items, no, we are allowed to aggregate them only if they are individually immaterial. However, if the item is material, it has to be presented separately from other items, no, in the financial statements. Okay, comparative information, as I said, you do not only present the current year, but you also present, no, the previous year, especially the latest preceding year. Okay, so why? Because we need to present comparative information so that users of financial statements may be able to compare, no, the current year with that of the previous year. Okay, so it requires that comparative information shall be disclosed in respect of the previous period for all amounts reported in the financial statements. Okay, now another concern is the consistency of presentation, which I already mentioned earlier. Okay, so of course, the financial statement should also indicate the reporting period. It is annual financial statement, no? Now there is a statement of financial position, and that assets and liabilities are classified into current as well as non-current assets or liabilities. Okay? And then of course you also have to take note of the minimum items on the face of the statement of financial position. Now regarding statement of comprehensive income, no, the statement of comprehensive income may be what? It may be it may be presented as a single statement, or it may be the statement of income is separate from the statement of comprehensive income. Pwede naman yon, di ba? Okay, so whatever it may be, no, so lahat naman ng items, like for example, if the statement of income or income statement is separately presented, that compared with that of the statement of comprehensive income, the bottom figure of the statement of income or income statement is, it's extended to the statement of comprehensive income. Kaya lang, kunwari sabihin natin combined na yung statement of income and the statement of comprehensive income, the upper section belongs to statement of income or income statement, and then the lower section of the statement of comprehensive income, no, indicates or presents the other comprehensive income items. Okay? So, total comprehensive income is the overall indicator of financial performance, not just the net income or the profit. Okay? Now, another thing that you need to consider is that of other comprehensive income items, no, may be grouped into two, no, items. OCI items may be classified either under, no, the OCI that can be recycled to profit or loss, or the group that we call other comprehensive income items, no, that are not recyclable or that cannot be reclassified to profit or loss. May dalawa yon. Now, regarding the presentation of the income statement, no, so it may be by nature or by function. So we have a natural presentation or a functional presentation. We are so much familiar with the functional presentation. So actually, no, when we most financial statements, no, particularly the statement of income or income statement, no, uses, no, most of them use what? The functional presentation. Yung dumadaan sa cost of sales, yung dumadaan sa selling and administrative expenses, no, yung ating mga operating expenses. No, kasi ibig sabihin by function, yung classification ng expenses. No, pag by nature, na paano ko ang ginamit natin ay by function or functional presentation, yung by nature, no, or natural presentation may be what? Presented, no, as one of the notes to financial statement. Okay? So, kung ang ginamit natin sa main statement ay functional presentation, merong alternative presentation using the natural presentation doon sa notes to financial statement. Okay? Ganon ang ating, no, just like this, no? So, as you can see, example by function of expenses by function, makita mo, ayan, dumadaan ng cost of sales, dumadaan ng distribution cost or selling expenses, tapos may administrative expenses. No, meaning to say, pinapakita yung grouping of expenses by function. Ito, di ba, cost of sales, no? Then distribution costs or selling expenses or marketing expenses. And then another group is administrative expenses or general and administrative expenses. And you also have other expenses. Okay, such that now you will also present as a bottom figure your profit before tax. And then you deduct the income tax expense to get the profit after income tax. Okay. Now, regarding the natural presentation, as you can see here, no? So, ang classification ng cost is according to the nature of expenses. Like for example, yung lahat ng salaries and wages and all other fringe benefits, pinagsasama-sama yan sa employee benefit expenses. All depreciation expenses, whatever kinds of depreciation, no, pinagsasama na sama natin, ina-aggregate natin under depreciation and amortization expense. O separate din yung mga freight out, separate din yung mga purchases. Okay, so like for example this one, raw materials and consumables used. So iba yung presentation natin, iba yung classification ng expenses. Okay. Now, ito yung sinasabi ko sa yung mga classification adjustment. Merong mga items no in the OCI that can be reclassified or recycled to P&L. Ito yung mga examples niya, oh. Ayan, no. And then pwede rin naman no other comprehensive income items that are not recyclable to profit or loss. Okay? Like revaluation surpluses, no, actuarial gains or losses, no, okay, for a defined benefit plan, 'di ba? Okay, so yun yung mga sinasabi nating not recyclable to profit and loss. Okay? So, meron tayong mga kategorya. Now, this also in the lecture note, you are given no the pro forma presentation of comprehensive income no in only one statement. 'Di ba sabi natin yung statement of comprehensive income may be shown as a one statement. Nandun na yung income statement, nandun na rin yung other comprehensive income in one statement or a single statement. Pero wala namang problema if you are going to present it separately, meaning the statement of income or income statement is separate from the statement of comprehensive income. Okay, so paano kung single statement of comprehensive income ang ating ipe-present? So ibig sabihin yung upper portion no below upper portion pertains to income statement. Ito yung 'di ba pag gumagawa tayo ng income statement, yung profit for the year, yun ang ating bottom figure. But if it is a single statement of comprehensive income, the profit for the year is not our what? Our bottom figure. Our bottom figure is none other than total comprehensive income for the year. Okay? Kasi combined yung ating statement of income at saka yung statement of comprehensive income. Okay. As you can see also, I'd like to emphasize no yung sinasabi nating OCI items that will not be reclassified to P&L. What are examples? Gain on property revaluation, remeasurements of defined benefit pension plan, yung mga actuarial gains and losses, share of gain or loss on property revaluation of associates, income tax related to items that will not be reclassified. And then we also have another group which we call items that may be reclassified subsequently to profit or loss. Like for example, as you can see here, naaalala nyo ba yung foreign translation, no, foreign currency translation gain or loss? 'Di ba? Pinag-aralan nyo sa Forex, 'di ba? Accounting for foreign currency translation. 'Di ba? Meron tayo doon na translation gain or translation loss, no? Yung exchange differences or the translation gain or loss is an example of an item that may be reclassified subsequently to P&L. Ano pa? Yung mga gain or loss o unrealized gain or loss on available for sale financial assets. Now, yung mga cash flow hedges, do you still remember gain or loss on cash flow hedges? Like for example, yung mga forward contract, futures contract, no option contract, etc. Okay. Now, income tax relating to items that may be reclassified. Okay? Kasi 'di ba whatever is the tax no, it has to be shown itong mga items na to net of tax. Okay? And then, of course, finally, you have other comprehensive income for the year, net of tax. Kaya nga ito, yung mga income tax relating, ito deduction yan eh. Okay? And then ito deduction din. Kasi papakita natin sila net of tax already. So other comprehensive income for the year, net of tax. And then you have your total comprehensive income for the year. And then, kung consolidated financial statements yung pine-present natin, lagi nating kinaklasify yung profit, no, as well as the total comprehensive income, no, attributable to the parent, as well as to the non-controlling interest. Do not ever forget or ignore the non-controlling interest. Kung consolidated statement, no? Pero kung hindi naman consolidated statement, nako, wala namang ganitong parents equity, then owner of the parent or owners of the parent, profit attributable to the owners of the parents, non-controlling interest kasi unconsolidated yung financial statement natin, no, or unconsolidated financial statement of an unconsolidated entity. No, magkaiba 'yon na kaya titingnan mo kung anong financial statement 'yan. Kasi baka financial statement ng isang consolidated or a group, no, financial, we call it group financial statement, just like our example Ayala Lands, no, marami siyang subsidiaries. Parent si Ayala Lands, tapos marami siyang subsidiaries. So natural, ganito, may ipepresent tayong ganito. Profit attributable to owners of the parent and non-controlling interest. So for total comprehensive income, it's just the same. No, attributable to owners of the parent and the non-controlling interest. Okay. And finally, in the statement of comprehensive income, pinapakita din natin yung earnings per share. Now, that is my reason why inuna natin, no, among the first lessons, no, that I need to discuss with you, no, is the earnings per share. Kasi yung earnings per share, talagang pinapakita natin siya at the bottom, no, of the statement of comprehensive income. Kailangan yan eh. So earnings per share, no, both basic and diluted earnings per share. No, PAS number 33 serves as our guide, no, in calculating as well as presenting the earnings per share, both for both the basic earnings per share and the diluted earnings per share. Okay. So, pakita nga natin ang ating sample, no? So, ito pa, nasunod ba ito doon sa financial statements ni Ayala Lands? Okay, so as our example. Kasi mahirap magsabi na hindi natin naiintindihan ano ba yung pinagsasasabi nitong PAS number 1 na to. Nasusunod ba ito? So, yun ang tanong. Okay, so let's see. So let's see. Stop share ko muna and then I am going to present again the Ayala Land financial statements. Okay. Okay. So again, this is the Ayala Land Incorporated and Subsidiaries Consolidated Financial Statement. So we're talking about we're talking about statement of comprehensive income. Okay. So sabi natin, kagaya nito, itong sa Ayala Land, no, separate yung statement of income from that of the statement of comprehensive income. 'Di ba sabi natin may option ng company. Pwede nilang i-present yung kanilang statement of comprehensive income as one statement. So ibig sabihin, it shows not only the other comprehensive income items but also the income statement items. Isang statement lang. Okay. Pero ito, in our sample, this is an example of a statement of income that is presented separately from the statement of comprehensive income. So as we are aware, no, in a statement of income, o anong ginamit na presentation of expenses or classification of expenses dito? Anong method? Natural presentation ba? Or is it functional presentation? Okay, so it looks like, kasi nandiyan yung general and administrative expenses, na wala ito sa natural presentation. 'Di ba? Kaya, it looks like the functional presentation is the one or is the method used, no, in presenting the statement of income. Okay? So, yon ang ibig sabihin natin, ano? Okay, so since ito Ayala Land, no, realty, real estate. So, we all know naman that Ayala Land, no, is really, no, the a magnate or the, what we call the top one of the top corporations, no, engaged in realty. Okay, kaya tingnan mo yung kanilang sales, so real estate sales. Okay, and then interest income from real estate sales, equity in net earnings of associates and joint ventures. Oh, so pinakita ko sa inyo, equity in net earnings of associates and joint ventures because later on, meron tayong PAS 28. So it is the financial reporting standard for what? For investment in associates and joint venture. O, kaya tingnan mo, ginamit nilang account. Equity in net earnings of associates and joint venture. Okay? Now, you also have interest in investment income, you have other income, and each item, no, is supported by notes. Kaya tingnan mo na laging naka-indicate yung number nung note because we can, you can present as many notes as necessary. Okay. So tingnan mo ito, comparative, no? Even your statement of income, comparative presentation or comparative information is presented. Oh, the current year in this particular set of financial statements is 2021. No, the immediately preceding year is 2020, but meron ding 2019. There's nothing wrong. Kung gusto mo 3 years, gusto mo nga 5 years pa. But normally, ang pinapresent, yung mga malalaking company, 3 years yan. So, comparative. Okay? So, look at this, no? And then regarding costs and expenses, as I said, no? Since meron kang nakita diyang general and administrative expenses, so it looks like functional presentation was used. Okay? Now, income before income tax, and look at this. The provision for or the benefits from income tax. Later on, we will also discuss no accounting for income taxes using PAS number 12. No? So pati pala yung yung mga income tax expense, no? Meron palang sarili yang PAS. Yes, later on we will discuss PAS number 12. Kaya tingnan mo, may current income tax expense, meron ding deferred income tax expense. Okay? And then you have the net income. This is not yet the bottom figure. Okay? Ngayon kung makikita mo pala, no? Tingnan mo yung mga nila, yung mga amounts nila. Nearest what? Walang centavos. No? And in fact, the level of precision is indicated in the statement. Ibig sabihin, yung nakikita natin dito mga figure, no, wala na yung 0, 0, 0. Meaning, hindi ito 96 million, ha? This is read as 96 billion. Kasi lagyan mo ng 0, 0, 0 kasi sabi dito, amounts in thousands. Makakita ka pa ba ng centavo dyan? Hindi na. Okay, ito nga amount in thousands It means to say it is read as 96 billion 144 million 850. Okay, 850,000. Grabe, ang hirap basahin kasi ang haba. No? Okay, so ineliminate na yung 0, 0, 0 because the level of precision is indicated as amounts in thousands. Okay? Tapos nakalagay ito, except earnings per share figure. Kasi yung earnings per share figure, no, is a peso per share. Oh, 'di ba? Kaya kapag sinabing earnings per share, it's a peso per share. 'Di ba? Okay. Now, so nakita natin ano, comparative. So tama ano, one principle no indicated or presented in PAS number 1 is comparative information. Kaya tingnan mo, hindi lang isang taon. 'Di ba? Tapos yung level of precision is also indicated. Okay? And that also, as you can see here, no, laging may earnings per share. It has to be presented as part of the income statement. Okay. Kaya dito nakalagay, normally nasa income statement yan eh. Kaya lang, there's nothing wrong naman if you will present earnings per share in a single statement of comprehensive income. Natural, wala namang separate statement of income if it is a single statement of comprehensive income. Therefore, yung earnings per share is also to be presented no as part of the statement of comprehensive income. Since ito dalawa, separate yung income statement doon sa statement of comprehensive income, natural yung earnings per share is to be presented in the income statement. Right? Okay. So tingnan mo ano, yung net income attributable to equity holders of Ayala Land. So both the basic and the diluted earnings per share. Okay? So yon ano, so, net income attributable to equity. Ayan, pinakita nila yan. Of course, no? After your net income comes the other comprehensive income. Tingnan mo yung dalawang classification or yung dalawang grupo. We have items that will be reclassified to P&L, and you also have items that will not be reclassified to P&L. Nung unang panahon, nung hindi pa na-revise, yung PAS number 1, no? Walang ganyang grouping. Ngayon na lang yan kasi ni-revise naman yung PAS number 1. Matagal na ang PAS number 1 as you can see in the history. 'Di ba? Nilalagay ko lagi yung history ng PAS para at least alam nyo kailan ba yan unang pinronounce, no? And then, ano ngayon yung current pronouncement? Siyempre, nare-revise siya without necessarily, without necessarily canceling it. No? I mean, canceling the PAS. No? Nire-revise yan, ini-improve yan. So, one of the improvements no, in the current version of PAS1, yung ating classification of OCI into items that will be reclassified to P&L and items that will not be reclassified to P&L. So nakasite dyan kung ano yung mga examples. Okay. And then, net income, then other comprehensive income, you get the total comprehensive income. And then, of course, the total comprehensive income is what? Is further classified into equity holders, no? Yung mga parents, no? Owners of the parent company, and then the non-controlling interest. Laging sinasama natin yung non-controlling interest. Okay? So eto, 'di ba? Eto yung if you still remember your consolidated your accounting for business combination. Naaalala nyo yung accounting for business combination, which is an advanced financial accounting and reporting subject. Di ba meron kayo noon? Ayan, nakita nyo yung non-controlling interest. Kaya pala ganun. Kapag merong consolidated income, hinahati natin yan into equity holders and the non-controlling interest. Kasi ganun pala ang presentation in the real world. Di ba? The real world, because this is already an example of a real world, no? Real world financial statement. Yan. Okay, so punta tayo sa of course, the statement of changes in equity. I already mentioned earlier that Depende yan sa statement of financial position mo. So tingnan mo yung statement of financial position mo, ano? Particularly the shareholders equity section. O, di ba? Sa equity section natin, no? This is the equity section. Again, comparative information na naman, ano? Okay. So lahat ng mga yan, yung mga items na ito, yung mga accounts na yan, no, the movements or the details of these accounts, no, are presented in the statement of what? The statement of changes in equity. O kaya may capital stock, may additional paid in capital. You know, additional paid in capital is an old term. No? Kaya lang, it is still, it's still, you can still use it as an account title. There's nothing wrong with that. Pero ngayon, di ba, pag IFRS term is share premium. Di ba? So it's just the same as additional paid in capital. And look at the subscriptions receivable. Ayan, no, dinideduct yan from the subscribed capital. Diba? Okay, and then tingnan mo yung retained earnings, ha? No, pinapakita natin yung appropriated, sineseparate natin from the unappropriated retained earnings. So what's the difference? Kasi itong unappropriated retained earnings, no, this is what? This is available for declaration of dividend, no? Okay, so alam natin 'yan, ano, pag-aaralan natin 'yan, no, later on. No, so appropriated and the unappropriated. So ibig sabihin pag tinotal mo 'yan, 'yan ang total retained earnings. Now you have stock option outstanding. Naalala niyo yung stock option outstanding? Particularly yung share-based payment, no? Particularly yung equity settled share-based payment, o di natural, may stock option outstanding dyan. Right? Pag-aaralan din natin yan because it is PFRS number 2. Di ba? Kaya ang ating take-up is per PFRS eh. Okay? Remeasurement gain or loss on defined benefit plan. Do you still remember? No, yung post-employment benefit, particularly defined benefit plan. Yung medyo challenging na topic, 'di ba? One of the more challenging topics, no, in intermediate accounting, no, yung accounting for defined benefit plan. Ano nga PAS 'yon? PAS number 19 as revised. 'Di ba? Ngayon ito tingnan mo, fair value reserve of financial assets at fair value other comprehensive income. Nakita natin. Di ba 'yon? It is directly it is an OCI item. No? So meaning to say it is directly presented, no, or extended to your statement, to your shareholders equity. No? Okay, eto fair value reserve of financial assets at fair value OCI. And then tingnan mo ito, cumulative translation adjustment. Di ba OCI din 'yon? Kaya tingnan mo. Okay? Equity reserves and then treasury stocks or treasury shares. And then finally you have your total shareholders equity. No? So makita mo yung movements, no, ng bawat account. Okay? So nagkaroon sila ng change in accounting policy. Okay, sabi natin, meron din tayo. This is I just uploaded today, no, another lesson or a lesson on change in accounting policy. Kaya ito, tingnan mo, meron silang change in accounting policy. Adoption of PFRS number 15, covered by PIC Q&A 2018. Okay, ano ba yung PFRS number 15 na yan? This is one of the newest, one of the newest or the newer PFRS. Okay? Ano ito? Do you still remember PFRS number 15? Ewan ko kung na-take up nyo yon. Revenue from contracts with customers. Medyo long yan, no? We will discuss that, no, separately kasi mahaba yan. PFRS number 15. Naalala niyo yung 5-step model. Okay? So, nag-adapt sila ng PFRS number 15, which may call for, or which should have called for a change in accounting policy. Ngayon naman treatment ng change in accounting policy? Pag-aaralan naman natin sa PAS number 8. Kita mo, bawat movement natin or bawat treatment natin, meron siyang corresponding PAS or PFRS. Di ba? Kaya ang ganda kapag meron tayong sample. Nakikita nyo, ano ba yung parang PAS, PFRS come alive. Okay, sige. So, ayan, net income, other comprehensive, total comprehensive income, then yung mga ano natin, yung mga transactions, no? Affecting or moving the account balance or that move the account balances or equity account balances. Okay, so, haba ano? Okay, so punta tayo ngayon sa statement of cash flows. Now, regarding the statement of cash flows, we say that it is covered in a separate PFRS, particularly PAS number 7. Di ba? So, naaalala nyo yung PFRS or PAS number 7? Okay, so here is your consolidated statement of cash flow. Again, comparative information presented. Okay? Kaya tingnan mo yung cash flow mo, ano? Cash flow from operating activities. You also have cash flows from investing activities. You also have cash flows from financing activities. And then the bottom figure is cash and cash equivalent at the end of the year. Okay, ngayon sabi natin, if you will read the state or the PAS or PAS number 7, no? Tinuturuan tayo doon, ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng operating activities, ano ba ibig sabihin ng investing activities as well as financing activities. Tingnan mo ito, cash flow from operating activities. So sabi mo, ay nag-start sa income before income tax. Sabi mo, the statement of cash flows is the only statement among the complete set of financial statements that uses the cash basis of accounting rather than the accrual basis of accounting. Kaya from the income statement, in-extract ng company yung income, income before tax. Okay? Ngayon, in-extract niya yan such that this income will be converted into cash income. So anong ginamit na method? Kasi dalawa ang method sa pag pinagsabi nating cash flow from operating activities. There are two methods available to the company in order to convert a cash or an accrual net income to cash income or cash flow from operating activities using the cash basis. Kasi lahat ng mga statements natin using accrual basis, di ba? That is what is generally acceptable. Paano yung statement of cash flow? Well, the statement of cash flow, as I said, is the only statement that uses cash basis rather than accrual basis. Kasi sinabi ngang cash flow alangan namang gamitin mo accrual. That is the reason why yung operating activities natin, cash flow from operating activities, dito, this statement of cash flows, particularly for cash flows from operating activities, made use of the indirect method. Kasi merong isa kung siyempre pag may indirect method, may direct method. Kaya pag sinabi natin between direct method and indirect method, we are only referring to cash flow from operating activities. It does not matter yung mga direct, indirect, it does not apply to cash flow from investing activities and cash flow from financing activities. Hindi ina-apply yung direct, indirect. It's only in the computation of cash flow from operating activities that it matters a lot whether you use the direct method or the indirect method. Now, in this example, ano ang ginawa ng company? No? Ano ang method niya to compute or to determine the cash flow from operating activities? So, it used what? It used what? Indirect method. Nagsimula siya sa accrual income, net income, ina-deduct yung mga adjustments, including depreciation and amortization. Bakit? Kasi it does not require, this account does not require any cash outlay. 'Di ba? Sabi natin kaya ina-add back siya doon sa income. Ano pa? Oh, kagaya ng mga ng what do you call this? And all other what? O pag sinabi nating gain, anong ginagawa natin? Dinededuct natin. Pag sinabi nating loss, ina-add back natin, laging baliktad. Kung sabihin natin, gain on disposal of property, plant, and equipment. O just like here, gain on sale of investment in associates and jointly controlled entities. Anong ginawa natin? Diniduct natin. Kung loss ito, anong ginagawa natin? Ina-add natin, 'di ba? Okay, so ina-add back natin. Kaya kapag loss, add back to income. Pag gain, deduct from income. In order to convert, bakit nag-a-add deduct tayo? Kasi in order to what? To convert an accrual net income to what? To cash flow from operating activities. Kaya nga sinabing indirect eh. Paano naman yung direct method? Ay talagang direct yan. Let's say, kukunin muna natin yung sabihin natin, cash from collection or cash collected from customers. Cash paid to suppliers. Cash paid to employees. Salaries eh. Cash paid to service providers. Cash paid to taxing authority. O, di ba? So, kumbaga, sabi natin, talagang directly cash collection versus cash payment. No, kaya nga direct. Okay? Kaya may direct, may indirect. So, in our example here, it made use of the indirect method. Kasi nag-start from income, kinonvert yung income into cash flow from operating activities. Yun ang pinagsasabi ng PAS number 7 mo. Plus, of course, the definition of what? The definition, nakalagay din doon yung definition ng cash and cash equivalent. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng cash equivalence? No? It is defined in PAS number 7. Kaya nga sinama ko na to kasi if we are going to learn about complete set of financial statements, hindi pwedeng sabihin complete without the statement of cash flows. Kaya inuna natin siya. Okay? Among others. Okay? And that, sabi natin, another concern is that yang lahat ng mga statements na yan comprising complete set of financial statements are co-equal in prominence. What do I mean by that? Hindi importante, mas importante yung statement of income or rather statement of comprehensive income over other, other statements. No, hindi mas importante yung statement of cash flows. Walang major, walang minor because all these statements are important. They are co-equal with each other in terms of prominence. Ayan. Okay? So, ganon, Ngayon, diskubrehin natin naman yung sinasabi ng PAS number 1 regarding notes to financial statement. Sa totoo lang, kapag ikaw ay isang financial accountant, masarap mag-present ng financial statements, yung main statements. Pero sa totoo, mahirap gumawa ng notes to financial statement. Why? Because when you present a complete set of financial statements, you are not only concerned with the main statements, The statements will not be complete without the supporting notes to financial statement. In order to comply or to fully comply with the adequate disclosure principle. Anong ibig sabihin ng adequate disclosure? It means to say that informative disclosures are to be presented, no, in the financial statements in order to what? In order to present, no, a complete, no, yung more or less complete information. Hindi pwede yung may hahanapin pa. Okay? That's the reason why yung mga schedule, yung mga reconciliation, pwedeng maging part ng notes to financial statement. And in fact, the number of pages that you dedicate or you present as notes to financial statement, they are even many, or they are even, kumbaga, there are more pages, no, that comprise notes to financial statement compared with your main statement. Kumbaga, kumbaga sabi nga natin, kung ilang pages lang yung main statement, pagdating mo ng notes to financial statement, parang libro. No? Sa dami ng pages. Why? Because you have to narrate. You have to reason out. Like for example, if should there be changes in accounting policy, i-justify mo yan. Ina-narrate mo yung mga reasons why you are changing or you've changed accounting policies. And aside from that, ang daming ipe-present na notes to financial statements. So let's start off with number 1. Ito, lagi ito SOP. Note number 1 is always presenting corporate information. We all know that Ayala Land is the parent. And the parent has many subsidiaries. Kaya doon pa lang sa corporate information, ipinakilala na presenting or introducing the parent, no? And then later on, what are its subsidiaries? I-enumerate mo ngayon. Kumbaga ipe-present mo yung buong grupo, no? The entire cast, kumbaga sa pelikula or sa teleserye. O sino yung mga cast? Ayan, ilalagay mo yan sa corporate information. Just like this, Ayala Land Incorporated, the parent company, is domiciled and was incorporated on June 30, 1988. So, nakalagay yung brief history in the Republic of the Philippines, meaning to say that this is a domestic corporation. With corporate life of 50 years, the parent company's parent is Ayala Corporation. AC is a publicly listed company with which is 47.87% owned by Mermac. And I don't understand that Mermac, okay? And the rest of the public by the public, okay? The parent company is registered, a company's registered office and principal place of business. Okay, nakalagay dyan. Sa Ayala Avenue raw, sa Makati City. Okay. Now, who are the subsidiaries? No, eto na ang mga subsidiaries. Ang dami-dami pala. No, alam mo, ang Ayala Group maraming negosyo at ang kanilang primary business, no, ay realty. No? Pero they have other businesses. We all know that. Ayan, ito lang yung ano nila, yung mga ito yung company or parent company. Ayala Land is the parent company engaged in realty. But it doesn't necessarily follow na naka-confine lang yung business ni Ayala sa realty. Marami ang business. Okay? So happened that this Ayala Land is a realty company. Eto, ang dami niyang subsidiaries, and of course, ito nga pinagbibigay na ito, 100%, 39, 65, blah, blah, blah. What is this? Or what are this? Ito yung ownership interest. Okay, ang Serendra, saan ba yung Serendra? Sa BGC. Di ba? Okay, 39% owned by Ayala. Okay? So, by Ayala Lands, no? Ayan, Serendra, ayan, etc. Avida, kanila rin yung Avida. Amaya. I mean, these are popular names, right? Okay. Sa amin nga dito, Nubali. Naku, Ayala yan. Mhm. Okay, ang dami ano. So these are the subsidiaries. So ito yung tinatawag natin all-star cast, no? Note 1 yan na corporate information. Ayan. Ano naman yung nakalagay sa note 2? No? Of course, yung mga prominent lang ang ating ano. Note 2 is about the summary of significant accounting policies. Ano? Ibig sabihin kung financial accountant ako, maglalagay ako ng summary of significant accounting policies as note 2. Answer, yes na yes. No? Kaya kapag financial accountant ka, ay magnanarrate ka. O, tingnan mo yun sa note 2. No? Tingnan mo ha, basis of present preparation para sabi ko nga sa inyo, no? PAS 1 come alive or coming alive. Okay, so basis of preparation. Ano sabi diyan? The consolidated FS of the group have been prepared using the historical cost basis. Ano ibig sabihin ng cost principle? Di ba meron tayong cost principle? Oh yes, that assets are initially acquired or initially assets are initially recorded at cost. Di ba? Okay, so very basic yan. Kahit nung nag-aaral kami ng college, ay talagang cost basis. Except for financial assets at fair value through P&L. Kasi nga, financial asset at fair value siya. And financial assets at fair value through other comprehensive income that have been measured at fair value. Kasi ngayon, dati nung unang panahon, puro lang kami cost basis eh. Ngayon hindi, meron ng fair value accounting. No? Kaya ibig sabihin, all assets like PPE, intangible assets, they are recorded initially using the historical cost basis. Pero may exception to the rule kasi nga, no, yung financial assets natin, no, are presented at fair value, no, through profit or loss or fair value through other comprehensive income. Okay? So the consolidated financial statements are presented in Philippine peso. What is Philippine peso here? This is the presentation currency. Di ba dalawa yan? Nag-aral kayo ng Forex, accounting for foreign exchange transactions and foreign currency translation. Di ba dalawa ang klase ng currency? Meron tayong tinatawag na presentation currency and the functional currency. So, ibig sabihin dito, yung Philippine peso is both for Ayala Land kasi domestic corporation ng Ayala Land eh. So, the Philippine peso is not only a functional currency or its functional currency, but also its presentation currency. Kaya itong si Ayala, kapag meron silang mga offshore operation or foreign operation, kailangan, kunwari, kung in US dollar yon or in yen, kailangan pag pinresent sa consolidated financial statements, they are translated to what? To Philippine peso. The Philippine peso being the presentation currency. Bakit? Kasi domestic corporation ito. Di ba? Okay, so Philippine peso, which is also the parent company's functional currency. You see? Kaya maiintindihan mo ano ba yung presentation currency, ano ba yung functional currency. Siyempre, being a domestic corporation, our functional currency is the Philippine peso. 'Di ba? Domestic corporation. Functional currency natin is the Philippine peso. And all values are rounded to the nearest thousand. This is the level of precision, except when otherwise indicated. Okay. The consolidated financial statements provide comparative information. So nakita nyo naman, comparative talaga, no? Okay. In respect of the previous period. While there are recent signs of increased market activity with the easing of quarantine measures in key areas in the Philippines, management believes that the impact of COVID-19 situation remains fluid and evolving and the pace of recovery remains uncertain. Wow, ang ganda nito, dramatic pa, no? Ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo. If you will comply with PFRS, it has to be full compliance. You cannot have a partial compliance. O tingnan mo, explicitly stated, no? Na compliant ka sa PFRS. Hindi lang sabi-sabi, kundi hindi lang implied, kundi explicit, no? It means to say it is expressed, no? No, in the notes to notes to financial statement. Look at the statement of compliance. Maganda. The consolidated financial statements of the group have been prepared in accordance with Philippine financial reporting standards as modified by the application of the financial reporting relief on the accounting for significant financing components, etc. Okay. So that means it is what? Sinabi dito, hindi pwedeng sa partial compliance, ha? Nakalagay, have been prepared in accordance with PFRS. You see? What do you call this? Expressed. It's not only implied, but full compliance is expressed. Okay? It's stated. Okay? Now, that is the statement of compliance. Ayan, ang haba, ano? Now, nagkaroon ng change in accounting policy. Actually, we will discuss this in PAS number 8. No? You already have a lesson. Hindi ko lang malaman ano bang lesson yung lesson 6 ba o lesson 7. I forgot. Okay. Changes in accounting policies. Ayan. In 2021 or adoption, no, of a new accounting policy. O may kwento. No, we cannot afford to read it, no, verbatimly. Okay, so we are running out of time already. Okay, so capitalizing borrowing costs in property, plant and equipment, and in property and equipment and investment properties. Ayan. May mga bago sila. Kaya tingnan mo, ha, for every change in accounting policy, sabi natin, though change in accounting policy remains to be a violation of the consistency principle, it is allowed for as long as it is geared towards fairer presentation of FS. Allowed siya. You have to justify. Kaya tingnan mo, for every change in accounting policy, dina-justify, ang haba ng justification. You see? Dito pinaaandar natin yung exercise of professional judgment because sabi natin we can select from among acceptable accounting policies. Pag sinabi nating change in accounting policy, it is not a correction of an accounting error. A change in accounting policy means you will have to what? To shift from a GAAP to another GAAP or to a new GAAP. Kaya wala kang error correction dyan. Kundi nagbago ka lang ng accounting policy. No? Kasi ang error correction is different. Okay? Kasi pag sinabi mong error correction from a non-GAAP, no, you correct, no, meaning to you shift to a GAAP. Whereas a change in accounting policy is from a GAAP to another GAAP. Kaya nga sabi natin, if we are accountants, no, we can exercise our professional judgment in selecting from among acceptable accounting policies. Kaya nga siya hindi rules-based eh. Bakit pag sinabing rule, whether you like it or not, abide by it. Observe it. You don't have an option. Pero sa atin, we have an option to select from among generally acceptable accounting principles. Right? Okay. So, ganon, ano? So, for every change in accounting policy, as you can see, ayan, no? Ang haba ng explanation, no? Kaya sabi ko sa inyo, if you are a financial accountant, you are a narrator. You narrate. You explain. Hindi po pwedeng hindi ka proficient in oral and written communication. Kasi tingnan mo lang ang haba ng gagawin mo, ang haba ng tatrabahuhin mo, ang haba ng sasabihin mo to justify the change in accounting policies. Oh, you see? Oh, ang dami, oh. Okay. So, we cannot afford to read them one by one. Okay. So, yun pa lang. Ano, ito yung mga iba dyan, ano na yan, yung mga summary of accounting policies kaya mahaba. You see? Ano yung mga pinagsasabi niya? Kaya sabi mo, teka, it means to say that you should be knowledgeable. You have a sound knowledge. You should have a sound knowledge in PFRS. Otherwise, paano mo i-explain lahat yan? No? Hindi mo alam kung anong PFRS yun. Kita mo, lahat to may explanation. As you can see, ang haba summary of significant accounting policies lang, ilang pages na. See? Hindi na natapos Wala yatang katapusan. Pero may katapusan pa rin ito. Okay, so I guess we have to later on I will show again this sample so in explaining other PAS and PFRS so don't worry, so we will go into those we will discuss those in later on. Okay, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na kunwari, cash and cash equivalent is a what? It is a one-line item for cash items. Di ba? Kaya tingnan mo, naka-note 4. Kasi imagine, if you are going to present the detailed accounts, cash na cash lang, ang dami na. Imagine, so magkaklag yan doon sa main statement mo. Kaya lang gagawin, you will have to decompose that, and decompose that or those one-line items, in the notes to financial statement. Kaya tingnan mo, yung cash and cash equivalent, tingnan mo, cash on hand, cash in bank, ano ibig sabihin ito? 66,575,000 ito. Laki ng pera nila, cash on hand lang yun, Cash in bank nila, 11 billion, 11.7 billion. Meron 000 yan Okay, so 11.7 billion ang kanilang cash in bank. What about cash equivalent? They have 2.1 billion. See? Okay, so yan yung composition ng cash and cash equivalent nila. Okay? And others, meron silang in US dollar and in Philippine peso. Di ba? For short-term investment, ayan. For financial assets at fair value through profit or loss, ayan, meron siyang composition. Okay. So, etc. And then, accounts and notes receivable is also a one-line item. Ito ang composition ng kanila. Less allowance for impairment losses. Allowance for impairment losses. Saan mo makikita itong allowance? Now, is there a what we call a specific PFRS that discusses allowance for impairment losses? Meron. PFRS number 9. Ayan, okay, pag-aaralan din natin yon, PFRS number 9. As you can see, in presentation of financial, yung PAS 1 pa lang, it introduces you or it opens the gateway to all other PAS. So this is the PAS of all PAS or PFRS. So it introduces you to what? To the overall view of your financial statements. Kaya nga sinabing presentation of financial statements. Okay? So, yan So, and many more. Later on, we will also be using this as our sample to explain other PAS and PFRS. Okay? So, let us answer the multiple choice questions. So, let me stop this sharing, and then let me change my screen again to answer the, sana sinagutan nyo sa bahay para nang sa ganon, pag nagdi-discuss tayo at binibigay ko yung answer, no? So you can check your answers, no? Okay, next. Okay, so may I present now the answers. Okay. Sige, dun tayo ha. So, well, jot down the answers. So, I appreciate if you already have, or if you already have answered the questions, no? Ang ilang bang questions ito? Medyo marami ito, no? Okay. So, let's begin with number 1. Financial statements na muna tayo overall, ano? Number 1, letter A. Okay. Objective of financial, what is this again? Objective of financial statement. To provide information about the financial position, performance, and cash flows of an entity that is useful to a wide range of users in making economic decisions. The best answer. Okay, number 2. Now, in a multiple choice, maaaring lahat correct answers. But what we are looking for is the best answer. Kaya nga, in a multiple choice, no, kailangan specify mo. Kasi pag sinabi mong correct answer, no, and, there may be statements or there may be choices that are all correct. No, but which one is the best answer? Ngayon, ano ba ang ating style diyan, no, or technique diyan? If you do not know the specific, no, or the answer, no, specifically the answer, the best answer. Anong gagamitin mong technique? You apply the process of elimination. So among the choices, ito, hindi ito. So that will limit you to only 3 options. Among the 3 options, mukhang hindi itong letter D. Okay, so na-eliminate mo na dalawa. So dalawa na lang ang choices mo. So that is how we apply, no? That is when I took the board, that is, well, no, I would consider that that has been a very effective technique. No, when I took the board examination, I applied that technique. Nakapasa naman ako. Okay. So for theory of accounts, I got 92. 8 lang ang mali ko, no? Okay, kasi zero base, 'di ba? So modesty cast aside, theory of accounts, no, as a board subject. So the board, that's the board subject where I got the highest grade. Ewan ko, hindi ko alam kung bakit. Basta I got 92, no? 92% on that particular subject. Siguro love ko yung theory of accounts. So, the reason why in the review I like theory of accounts, no? And right now in the board examination, it is spread over several board subjects. No, it's no longer a distinct or a separate subject, but it is already, distributed. The coverage distributed, or topics distributed, no, in several board subjects. Like financial accounting and reporting, the advanced financial accounting and reporting. Sometimes merong theory of accounts, no, theory of accounts or theory in MAS. Sometimes meron ding theory na makikita ka doon sa auditing. Okay, so it's everywhere. Okay. So, number 1, letter A tayo. Number 2, per PAS 1, basically, ano yung period? Period. Okay, covered by your financial statements annual. Now, itong semi-annual, yung quarterly, yung monthly, yan yung mga tinatawag nating interim financial reports or interim period. Ano ibig sabihin ng interim period? It is a period, no, a reporting period which is less than a year. Okay, ano ba ang isang taon? Di 12 months. Kaya annually. Kaya ang general purpose financial statements must be prepared annually. Okay? Pero there's nothing wrong if you will prepare interim financial reports. Meaning to say, financial reports or financial statements covering less than a year, like semi-annual or a quarter or a month. Yan pag-aaralan natin pagdating natin ng interim financial or interim reporting, interim financial reporting or interim reporting. Okay? That is, nakalimutan ko ano bang PAS yon. Okay, so interim reporting is another you know, it's also covered by a distinct PAS. Okay. So, answer number 3, letter A. Number 4, letter boy. Hindi statement of changes in financial position. Statement of financial position dapat. Okay, so meaning exception no is letter B. So it's the statement that is an exception. Okay, so A, letter C, letter D, they comprise a complete set of financial statements but not statement of changes in. Meron bang ganon? Ay, nung unang panahon, meron kami niyan, statement of changes in financial position. So instead of calling it statement of cash flows, we call it statement of changes in financial position. No? So, well, I cannot tell you the history of that, pero merong ganyang statement. And this is already, I mean, this is no longer required, no? Today. Bakit? Eh, nung unang panahon nung nag-aaral kami, ang tawag pa namin statement of changes in financial position. It's not really statement of cash flows. Ngayon, kakatawagin namin statement of cash flows kung cash fund basis or cash basis ang gagamitin namin. Okay? Pero itong statement of changes in financial position, well, never mind. Baka maguluhan pa kayo. So, letter B is not required. No? Major financial statements. No? Number 5. Okay, letter A, statement of financial position. Company's liquidity, to assess the company's liquidity. Ano ba yung liquidity? It is short-term solvency. It is the ability of the company to meet current obligations, no? Using current assets. Liquidity yun eh. Financial flexibility means to say that you can easily adapt, no? To situations, no, or any business situations, no, quite easily. Bakit? Siguro may pera ka, may pera yung company, maraming assets yung company or current assets, so that it can immediately what? It can immediately adapt to a new business situation. Dahil maraming kaperahan. Natural, pag marami kang kaperahan, no? Anywhere you go, pwedeng or whatever you want to achieve or you want to pursue, you can pursue quite easily. Bakit? May pera ka eh. Di ba? Okay, so at pag sinabi natin company's liquidity and financial flexibility, ano kailangan mong statement? Although you may need all statements, but the best answer here is statement of financial position. Okay, next, number 6. Itong number 6 na ito, this is about refinancing. Ano ibig sabihin ng refinancing? Kunwari, sabihin natin, meron kang notes payable that will mature within the next 12 months. Di dapat current current liability yon. Kasi magmamature na within the next 12 months. Kaya lang yung company gustong makiusap na i-extend yung maturity date nung note. Okay, kaya nakikipag-agree siya sa bank that it be refinanced. Ano ibig sabihin? Ano magiging effect ng refinancing? It will be, the maturity date will be extended. Sabihin natin, baka ngayon wala kang pera. no? Wala pang pera yung entity. Within the next 12 months, i-settle na. Okay, kaya nakiusap siya sa bangko, no? So, uh, kumbaga, there's an agreement with the bank na i-refinance. What will be the effect of the refinancing if the bank approves it? Ang mangyayari, yung current, yung notes payable mo, na supposedly ay mag-due na within the next 12 months, which is a current liability, of course, without the refinancing feature. Ano mangyayari? If there will be a refinancing or ang tawag natin dyan, rolling over. No? Pag sinabi mong, yung promissory note ba iro-roll over? Anong ibig sabihin ng rollover? It means to say i-refinance yan. Ibig sabihin, ide-diretso. So that means to say, from being a current liability, once the agreement to refinance is approved by the bank, magiging long-term na naman yan or non-current liability. Ngayon sabi mo, automatic ba yan? Let's say if there is only an intention of the company to refinance. No, wala pa yung refinancing agreement, hindi yung ba automatic intention pa lang magiging non-current liability na kagad? So, of course not. No? Okay, so tingnan natin yung situation. Galaxy Corporation prepares its financial statements in accordance with IFRS. Galaxy intends to refinance at 10,000, ako naman, 10,000 lang yung notes. Well, never mind the amount. No? 10,000 notes payable due on February 20, 2024. No, the company expects the note to be refinanced for a period of 5 years. O, ibig sabihin, wow, hindi na siya current liability, magiging non-current na siya. Under what circumstances can Galaxy report the notes payable as a non-current liability on its December 31, 2023 statement of financial position? Ang answer natin dyan, letter B. If Galaxy has executed an agreement to refinance before December 31, 2023, then, notes payable becomes non-current liability. Otherwise, hindi pwede. It will remain to be a current liability. O, di ba? Kaya kailangan, mayroon na before December 2031, nakipag-arrange na at na-approve na. It has already executed an agreement to refinance before December 31 of 2023. Hindi yung after. Okay? Dapat before December. Ano yung December 31, 2023? That's the end of the reporting period. Okay? So, that's the answer. Number 8. Number 7. Ayan. Okay, answer natin B. Ano ang finance cost? Di interest charges. O, di ba? Or interest expense, finance cost, tax expense, and income. Okay, which of the following items is required disclosure on the income statement? O, syempre, letter B. Okay. Although halos lahat may notes to financial statement. Optional yan But for finance cost, tax expense, and income, talagang required disclosure on the income statement. By the way, no? Every PFRS has a disclosure requirement. So hindi mo lang titingnan yung recognition, yung measurement basis, yung classification, yung FA, yung presentation, but also the disclosure requirements. Meron mga disclosure requirements. Ang Securities and Exchange Commission, napakabagsik niya when it comes to disclosure. Kapag merong silang pinapadisclose sa SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, kasi meron yung mga disclosure requirements din. Kasi normally, di ba, yung mga corporations, they submit to the Securities and Exchange Commission a quarterly financial statement. Meron yung mga disclosure requirements. At pag hindi ka nag-comply ng disclosure requirements, mape-penalize ka. Ganun kabagsik. Kaya make sure that all required disclosures are complied with. Otherwise, it will cause penalty. Okay. Yun nga Kaya nangyayari ganito, Kapag na-penalize, ito real world ito practice. Don't you know na minsan mahirap maging accountant? Okay. Minsan yung mga natin failure to exercise the right professional judgment. Minsan napapahamak yung accountant. Kagaya ng we had one client before, no? Mali yung submission nila doon sa Securities and Exchange Commission. Yung required disclosure, hindi nila na-comply. So, nagkaroon sila ng penalty. Nakalimutan ko na yung exact amount. Mga close to 40,000 ata, no? Alam mo ang nangyari? From the chief accountant down to the one who is really assigned to present financial statement disclosure, na penalize. Yung 40,000, pinaghati-hatian nila yan, dinidak dun sa salary nila. Yun ang penalty. No? Kasi because of their negligence, no? Na-penalize sila ng Securities and Exchange. Ang nangyari, yung binayad doon sa Securities and Exchange, iniawas doon sa salary from the chief accountant down to the accounting kumbaga the accounting what we call the accountant, the financial accountant. Hati-hati sila, no? Salary deduction. Ganun kabagsik. Okay? Minsan may ganon. Meron namang ibang company, let it be 40,000 lang naman, pero doon sa kliyente namin dati, talaga, sino sila? 4 silang naghati-hati. Okay, bakit? Because of that negligence. Disclosure lang yun, ha? Okay, so ganun, And in fact, even delay, no, in the submission. Kunwari na penalize sila because of the delay in the submission. I-charge sa kanila yon. May mga ganong policies. See? Kaya kailangan better be careful. Okay, number 8. Ito. Ano yan? Sabi dyan, no? Which of the following may not be disclosed on the income statement for a company that prepares its financial statements in accordance with PFRS? The letter C, kasi wala naman talagang extraordinary item sa atin. Kasi PFRS tayo. No? Sa PFRS, there's no such thing as extraordinary item. This extraordinary item is only true to FASB, yung US GAAP. Meron pa silang extraordinary item. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo, may kaibahan pa rin ng FASB, accounting, the accounting standards of the FASB, the US-based FASB, with that of the IFRS. Sila, kumikilala pa sila ng extraordinary items in the income statement. Income statement item nila yan. Pero sa atin, sa income statement natin, since we are adopting IFRS na naging PFRS, no, in our local setting, we do not recognize extraordinary items. Wala yan doon sa ating income statement. Wala kang makikitang ganyan. Okay? Number 9. Ang answer natin, letter boy. Ano daw yan? Glenda must report finance costs on the statement of cash flows either in operating activities or financing activity. Oo nga pala. Yung interest expense, saan mo ilalagay ang interest expense? Let's say, cash paid for interest expense. Saan mo ilalagay yan? Sa operating activity ba or sa financing activity ba? Ang answer, alam nyo? Okay? Either. Meaning, pwede mong ilagay sa operating activity kasi ang interest expense or finance cost, you can find it in the income statement. Kaya pwede siya sa operating activity. However, it can also be presented under financing activity simply because finance charge siya. Payment of principal as well as interest. Pwede rin siyang pang-financing activity. Kaya lang, you have to present only once. Kung operating activity, doon lang siya. Huwag mo na i-present sa financing activity. Kung financing activity siya, doon may present sa financing activity, no? And not on the and not under operating activities. Isang beses mo lang ipe-present. But either of the two, right? Number 10. Ano answer natin dyan? No, Larimar acquired equipment by issuing 5,000 shares of its common stock. How should this transaction be reported on the statement of cash flow? Nag-issue ng shares, nag-acquire ng equipment. So this is issuance of shares of stock for a non-cash consideration. Tanong, may cash flow? Wale. Sa ilalagay mo sa statement of cash flow? Hindi. Bakit? Kasi wala namang cash flow yan. Why? Because this is issuance of shares of stock for a non-cash consideration. Sabi mo, di hindi pala ilalagay sa statement of cash flows yan. Siyempre, saan mo ilalagay? Doon sa notes to financial statements as a significant non-cash transaction. Okay? For all significant non-cash transactions, lalanding siya sa notes to financial statement. They cannot be what? They cannot be presented in the statement of cash flow simply because there is no cash flow. O, di ba? Okay, number 11. Ano yan? Yung mga loans, no, from bank overdraft should be reported on the statement of cash flows as operating activity. Okay, number 12. Answer natin, boy. 1 and 2 statement only. Number 3, no, ang tanong kasi dyan, reporting comprehensive income under PFRS. 1 comprehensive income statement, 2 statements in the statement of owners. Hindi pwedeng statement of owners equity. Okay, so, saan mo ilalagay? So that means to say, answer natin, it's 1 and 2. Okay, 13. Answer letter A. Okay. O yan, comparative financial statements required. Number 14. Ito. Under PFRS, operating expenses on the income statement may be classified by nature or by function. Pareho namang acceptable yan. Answer letter A. 15. Under PFRS, the statement of cash flows may be presented on direct basis or indirect basis. Parang sinabi mo, direct method, indirect method, answer letter A. Parehong acceptable yan. Okay, 16. C ang answer. Obvious ba? 17. Answer, statement of cash flows. Number 18, answer letter D. They are prepared at least annually and are directed to both the common and specific information needs of a wide range of statement users. Remember, FS should be neutral. Number 19, what is the first item? Eto nakita nyo doon sa Ayala Land FS. What is the first item presented in the notes to financial statements? Siguro aside from wala namang nakalagay ditong corporate information Kung may corporate information, yun ang number 1. Wala naman sa choices what comes next to corporate information? Di yung statement of compliance with PFRS. Okay? Mas nauna pa siya dun sa summary of significant accounting policies, right? Siya yung unang-una, statement of compliance with PFRS. Answer, letter A. Okay, number 20. Under PAS 1, all of the following are included within the components of financial statement except letter D, statement of retained earnings. Kasi, bakit hindi na kailangan mag-present ng state? Sa ESA, sa FASB na naman, required silang mag-present ng statement of retained earnings. Okay? Tayo hindi na kasi may statement of changes in equity na. Nandoon na yung retained earnings. So yung movement ng retained earnings, nandun na, nakapaloob na doon. Kaya redundant naman. If you will be requiring statement of retained earnings at the same time, nandun naman yung statement of changes in equity wherein retained earnings is also presented as an item. Right? Okay, so answer letter D. Number 21. Answer letter C. Ayan, okay? Ayan, no? Statement 2, sabi dyan, no? The presentation and classification of items in the financial statement shall be retained from one period to the next. Ano ibig sabihin yan? Consistency principle, right? Okay. So statement 1, an entity must disclose comparative information for the previous comparable period for all amounts reported and for all narrative and description, blah blah. So both statements no are true. Okay, 22. Anong tawag dyan? Yan daw yung mga immaterial amounts of similar nature and function should be grouped together. Aggregation. 23. The profit or loss of a period and other gains and losses recognized directly in equity are presented in the statement of changes in equity. Okay, next 24. Profit plus other comprehensive income is equal to total comprehensive income. B. 25. Under PAS 1, which is not included in the computation of profit. Eh di syempre, yung unrealized gain in change in value of available for sale security. Bakit? Kasi OCI siya. 'Di ba? OCI siya. Okay, 26, which is not included in the computation of OCI. Letter A, no? Unrealized loss from derivative contracts designated as fair value hedge. Ano ba nakalagay sa OCI? Yung cash flow hedge. Kasi pag fair value hedge, saan siya pupunta? Sa P&L. Gets nyo? Kaya yun yung difference ng fair value hedge at saka yung naalala nyo, yung accounting for special transactions nyo. Oh, 'di ba saan ba tinuro sa inyo yung yung derivatives? Oh, 'di ba dalawa 'yan, fair value hedge or cash flow hedge. Ang sinasabi natin, yung unrealized loss from derivative contracts designated as fair value hedge, diretso yan sa P&L. Pero kapag unrealized loss or gain, no, unrealized gain or loss from derivative contracts designated as cash flow hedge, yun ang OCI. Di ba? Kaya kailangan makikita nyo ang difference, no? Alam nyo yung diferensya. 27. What is the purpose of reporting comprehensive income? To report a measure of overall enterprise performance. So overall indicator of overall performance. Not only net income but the total comprehensive income. Letter B ang answer. 28. The term comprehensive income, letter A, include all changes in equity during a period except those from investment buy and distribution to owners. So, saan nakalagay yan? Doon nakalagay yan doon sa conceptual framework, di ba? And also PAS 1. 29. Comprehensive income includes the following. Letter D. Gross profit, yes. Net income, yes. Okay. 30. Comprehensive income excludes changes in equity resulting from which of the following? Letter C. Dividends paid to stockholders. Okay. So, excludes nakalagay, kaya negative, excludes ang dividends paid to stockholders. Hindi yan kasali sa comprehensive income. Okay. 31, no? Profit plus other comprehensive income is total comprehensive income na ulit. 32, letter boy, distribution to owners. 33, eto ano to? Okay, which is not considered in the computation of P&L. Syempre, revaluation surplus. Bakit? Kasi OCI yan. No? 34, which is not included in other comprehensive income computation. The letter D ay naulit. 35. Under PAS 1, which of the following statement is true? Hindi pala naulit. No, sabi OCI daw, natural yung unrealized loss from derivative contract designated as fair value hedge is is a P&L rather than OCI. Ayun. 35, answer natin C. Okay? 36, answer natin dog. Okay? So, nakalagay Which of the following statement is incorrect in relation to fair presentation and compliance with PFRS? Tingnan mo yung letter D. Okay? An entity can rectify or correct inappropriate accounting policies either by disclosure of the accounting policy used or by notes or explanatory material. Sa accounting, yung maling take-up, hindi basta-basta yan, inilalagay lang sa notes to financial statement to rectify. No, hindi ganoon ang pagko-correct ng error. No, anong ginagawa natin? May journal entry to correct the error. O, di ba? It's not in disclosing it to the notes in the notes to financial statement or making an explanatory an explanation does not cure, does not cure the error, does not correct the error. So answer natin letter D, no? 37. Answer letter boy. Okay, so for statement of comprehensive income, statement of changes, madadali lang ito. Answer for 38C. 39 dog. Ayan, madali lang yan. 40, letter C. False and true. 41, letter C. 42, letter boy. 43, letter A. So what is again another name for cost of sales method? No, the functional presentation or the function of expense method. Okay, next 44. Answer natin A, office supplies, no? Okay. 45, letter dog. Freight in at saka freight out. Ano ba ang freight out? Yun ang distribution cost. Ang freight in, hindi ang distribution cost, no? Okay. So next, 46. Which of the following is not a general advertising? Kasi selling yon or distribution cost. 47. Letter dog. Ayan. Non-controlling interest and equity holders of the parent. Nakita natin yan, ano? An entity shall disclose on the face of the income statement the allocation of profit or loss for the period attributable to letter D, non-controlling interest and equity holders of the parent. So, intinding-intindi yun na meron tayong sample, Ayala Land. Diba? 48, PAS 1 would require as the minimum the presentation of following items on the face of the income statement except, ayan na naman, extraordinary activities. Okay, wala tayo niyan. 49, letter A, component of income from continuing operation. Dalawa yan, ano? Meron tayong income from continuing operation or income or loss from discontinued operation. Di ba? Yung dalawang yon pinapakita natin, component yan ng net income. Di ba? Okay. So, 50. Okay. Entity shall present a statement of changes in equity showing all of the following except cash flow during the period. Okay. 51. One of this is not considered as a recognized gain or loss. The letter A, share premium. Okay. 52. Answer natin is share capital. 53. Comparability. 54. Ano yan? Exchange differences daw arising from translation, no, of financial statements of foreign entity. Letter C, recognized as accumulated translation adjustment in the equity section. 55. Okay. C, industry practice. Oo nga pala, no? Meron ba nakalagay sa PAS kung ano ang dapat mauna sa presentation sa statement of financial position? May nakalagay na kailangan unahin muna natin yung current asset. Tapos after current asset, yung non-current asset. Sa totoo lang, walang nakalagay na ganun. Kaya may mga kumpanya na mas preferred nila na i-present muna yung non-current assets over kumbaga first and then followed by current asset. Bakit kaya ganon? Kagaya ng public utility company. Kasi, sa totoo lang, ano ba pinakamahalagang asset sa public utility companies? Di natural, mas marami silang non-current asset. mas significant yung amounts ng non-current assets nila compared dun sa current assets nila. Kasi public utility company sila, talagang asset intensive or PPE intensive sila. Okay. Kaya, siguro preferred talaga nila na i-present yung non-current asset ahead of the current asset. May violation ng PAS1? Wala! Kasi wala naman sinasabi sa PAS1 na, unahin nyo sa yung current asset i-presenta, tapos followed by non-current asset. Baka pag nakakita kayo ng financial isa, bakit pinresent kagad nila yung non-current asset? Wala pa yung current asset. Violation ito. Wala pong violation. It's their prerogative, no? Basta ang importante sa PAS1, ang importante yung assets and liabilities properly classified into current asset and non-current asset, and for liabilities, current liabilities, non-current liabilities. Yun ang kailangang hindi ma-violate. Kasi verbatimly sinabi sa PAS1, ang asset is either current or non-current. Liability is either current or non-current. Na kapag doon ka nagkamali, ay mali talaga. May violation ka. Oo, mali eh. Pero pag inuna mo yung non-current asset ahead of of current asset, walang violation yun. Di ba? Okay, so ganun. Kasi traditional lang naman. It's a tradition, no? Or it's conventional na inuuna natin yung current asset natin over non-current asset. Yung current liability natin over non-current liability. Okay? So, traditional lang. No? Pero sinabi naman sa kaya tingnan mo yan, no? Letter C ang answer natin, industry practice. 56. Okay, answer natin, letter B. 57, letter A. The following is no longer an allowable line item for presentation on the face of the... Oo nga naman, extraordinary, abnormal items. Wala ka tayo extraordinary items. 58, single-step income statement emphasizes C, total revenue and total expenses. 60, okay, answer natin, depreciation and amortization. Okay, 51, letter C, using a transaction approach. 62, okay, answer letter B. No? 3. How many earnings per share amounts are required to be disclosed based on the following income statement line item o income from operation? From yan na, from, hindi form. Baguhin nga natin. From operation, income before income tax, income from continuing operation, income from discontinued net income. Ano answer natin dyan? Di ba 3? Ano yung tatlong yon? Ayun yung income from continuing operation, income from discontinued operation, tsaka yung net income. Di ba? Okay, 63. Director's remuneration. Ano ba to? Additional information. Pag-aaralan natin later on yan. Related party. Okay. Related party disclosures. Statement, okay. Number 64, letter C. Ano ba to? Statement of financial, current asset or not to be considered as current asset. Letter C ang answer. Kasi yung cash surrender value of life insurance policy, this is to be considered as a non-current asset. Naalala niyo yung cash surrender value of life insurance policy. As a matter of fact, it is to be considered as a non-current investment. Di ba? Ano ba ang cash surrender value ng life insurance? Normally, kung meron kang insurance policy, after 3 years, meron ka ng cash surrender value. Ibig sabihin, the moment you terminate your insurance policy, may makukuha kang konting pera sa insurance company, as a return of the premium that you have paid for. During the last 3 years, or for yung previous yung year, kasi kung third year, kasi normally kapag third year meron ng cash surrender value yung insurance policy mo. So the moment na stop mo na, or sabihin natin kinancel mo yung insurance policy, meron ka makukuhang kahit, di ba, nagbibigay ka ng premium or nagbabayad ka ng premium yearly. Minsan nga monthly pa, minsan quarterly. Depends na sa term of payment, but definitely annually nagbabayad ka ng premium. Kaya ibig sabihin, pag sinabing cash surrender value of life insurance policy, the moment na kinancel mo na yung insurance policy, may makukuha kang kahit konti. Return of the premium, which is equivalent to the cash surrender value of the life insurance policy. Anong ibig sabihin yan? That's a non-current investment. Non-current asset yan. Okay. 65. Answer letter C separately within the equity section. Di ba? Yung non-controlling or minority interest. Hindi na natin siya tinatawag na minority interest. So, the more appropriate term is non-controlling interest. Kasi pag sinabing minority, parang napaka-degrading naman. Okay? So, minority ka lang. Magandang pakinggan, non-controlling interest. Kasi sino ba yung controlling interest? Natural, yung majority stockholder, yung parent. Di ba? Okay, answer natin dyan, letter C. 66, letter A, statement of financial position. 67, answer ay letter B. Di ba, yung report form at saka account form. Alam natin yan, di ba? Pag nagpe-present ng ng statement of financial position or balance sheet, it's either report form. Ano yung report form? Yung portrait, yung asset on top, liabilities and equity down. Okay? And then, pag account form naman, assets at the left side, liabilities and equity at the right side. Yun ang account form. Landscape ang kailangan mo doon. Okay, number 68. Okay, so B, current and non-current. 69, letter C. Ayan na, operating cycle or 1 year, whichever is longer. Bakit? May mga companies whose operating cycle is even beyond a year. Di ba? Okay, 70, letter C, receivable from customer. Ayan, trade asset. 71, letter A. Ayan. It does not describe as current asset. Restricted. Bakit letter A ang answer natin? Bakit naging current asset nakalagay cash or cash equivalent? Restricted from being exchanged or used to settle liability. May restriction Kasi dapat unrestricted. Di ba? Pag sinabi natin cash and cash equivalent, kailangan, no? There is no restriction as to withdrawal. There is no restriction as to use, di ba? And it's always immediately available for current operation. Kapag the moment na nagkaroon ng restriction, hindi na cash yun. Di ba? Okay, so 71, 72. Okay, answer sa 72, letter D, investments accounted for using the cost method. Okay. Bakit daw? Which is not a line item required to be shown. Okay. On the face of that. Tingnan mo dun sa minimum, yung list of minimum items. Wala namang investments accounted for using the cost method. Kung naging ganito, investments accounted for using the equity method. Yun. Anong tawag doon? Yung investments accounted for using the equity method. Di ba yung investment in associate? That is a one-line item. Pero kung cost method yan, hindi line item yan. Okay. 73, letter C. Ayan. Ano ba ibig sabihin yan? Lessee under a finance lease to rent. Pag-aaralan natin yan. PAS number 40. No? Financial reporting standards for investment property. 74, answer, letter C. Not allowed treatment of items shown on the face of the balance sheet. Deferred tax liability presented as part of current liability. Ganun? Hindi. So, deferred tax liability presented as part of current liability or asset. PAS number natin? Pag-aaralan natin na yan. PAS number 12. 75. Offsetting of assets and liability is not allowed unless required or permitted by a standard or an interpretation. No offsetting, please. 76. Ang ginamit lang natin. Fair presentation or application of PFRS is presumed to result in financial statement that achieve fair presentation. 77, materiality and aggregation. 78, letter dog. Okay, 79A, nagkaroon daw ng breach no of an the breach an entity breaches an undertaking under a long-term note agreement o kahit long-term pa siya once na nagkaroon ng breach or a violation of the agreement, it becomes due and demandable. Ibig sabihin, kung liability yan na long-term yan or non-current liability and because of the violation, it will be what? Construed to be or to be classified as current liability. No? Ayun, o letter A, current even if the lender agrees not to demand payment as the consequence of the breach. Ayan. Okay, next, number 80, letter C, notes to financial statement. Mga narrative description, disaggregation of items, etc. Nasa notes to financial statement. 81, letter C, normal order of presenting the notes to financial statement. O, nakita natin, ano ang una? Una yung C, statement of compliance, no? Susunod yung A, statement of measurement basis and accounting policies applied, significant accounting policies, di ba? And then susunod ng B, supporting information or computation for line items, yung mga disaggregation ng mga one-line items presented no in the FS. And letter D, commitments, contingencies, and other required financial and non-financial disclosure. Yun ang huli. Okay, kaya answer natin letter C. 82, summary of significant accounting policy section of the notes to FS should not indicate letter C, supporting computation for items aggregated on the face of the FS. Kasi summary yun eh. Mag-narrate ka lang ng mga parang summary ng accounting policies that you've chosen or the company has chosen to present their financial statements. Number 83, letter C, one of these is not disclosed in the accounting policy section of the notes to FS. Letter C, reasonably possible contingent liability. Okay, 84, letter C, business directory of the company's board of directors. Oh, hindi mo mailalagay yan. Okay. So 85, which of the following must be included as a line item? The A, investment property. Okay, next, 86, non-current asset, letter D. 87, profitability. 88, franchise. O, bakit? It's not a non-current investment dahil ang franchise ay ano? Intangible asset siya. Okay, 89, letter B. Not a current liability. Bakit? Kasi ang stock dividend distributable is an equity account. Next, 90, letter dog. 91, letter C. Okay. Next, 92, letter dog, contingent liability. Okay, 93, letter A. 94, letter dog. 95, dog. 96, boy, profitability. 97, dog, property and equipment. Okay? So, pag-aaralan natin, ano ba mga financial instruments? Okay? Ano ba ang financial asset? Ano ba ang financial liability? Ayan, dito tinatanong all financial assets except letter D, property and equipment. Hindi yan financial asset. Statement of cash flow, 98, letter C. Cash receipts and cash disbursements of an enterprise during a period presented in the statement of cash flows. 99, letter dog, deduction from net income. Di ba pag sabi ko sa inyo, gain, i-deduct mo. Pag loss, i-add back mo. Okay, 100, dividends received from investment, ang answer. 102, investing activity. 103, letter D, plus the gain only. Yan. 104, financing activity. Okay. Na 105, letter C. 106, boy. 107, dog. 108, dog. 109, A. 110, A. 111, boy. 112, dog. 113, C. 114, dog. 115, dog. 116, dog. 117, dog. 118, C. 119, dog. 120, dog. 121, dog. 122, boy. 123, boy. 124, A. 125, boy. 126, boy. 127, A. 128, C. 129, dog. 130A, 131A, may mga naulit 132C, ano sabi ko? 131A, 132C. Okay, so that ends PAS number 1. Okay, so I'll be giving you a 5-minute break, ha? Okay, 5-minute break. O sige, uminom, pumunta sa CR, and then when we come back, lesson number 4 na tayo, no? Okay, sandali lang ha. So wait for a while.
Sabi ko, mag-a-apply ako. Sige, apply.
Teka mo na may klase.
Kaya lang. Mami. Ay, naku.
mas medyo mas mataas na. 1,000 pesos. Mataas na. Sa banyo naman, okay.
Pero sa cost kasi transportation eh. Ano? Kasi isa, at saka hindi na magdodor, diretso na ako. So, mamaya, sabihin.
Oo, sige. Mhm. Okay, so let us resume. So we're done with our break. Break time, 5 minutes, just for you to drink or go to the restroom. Okay, so lesson number 4 is so easy. Now, why do we have to review this? Kasi baka magulat kayo sa board exam. May mga questions that are too basic. And there are times na minsan, hay, ang dali-dali. Alam na alam ko to. Minsan, wrong ano ka. Kumbaga, let's say you are expecting for very, 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 very difficult questions. No? And that you become surprised. Hala, ang dali-dali nito. Bakit ganon? Tapos kung alin pa yung madali at simpleng question, yun ang hindi mo ma-answeran. Bakit? Kasi you forgot to review the basic ones. Okay, so let's begin with the accounting process. No, only a review. Now, pag sabi nating accounting process, it is the mechanical or the constructive side of accounting. Because, preparing financial statement is only one aspect of accounting. We do not end accounting, or accounting does not end by just having financial statement. Kasi yung constructive side of it. Kaya lang sabi natin, accounting is both constructive and analytical. So, constructive side of accounting. Sabi mo, what is that constructive side of accounting? Diba? Bookkeeping. Okay, your debits and credits. Minsan nga sa auditing nagkakahirap-hirap paggawa ng adjusting entry. Bakit? Nakakalimutan yung principle ng accounting process. No? Okay. So let us just review the accounting process from step 1 hanggang step 12. Okay. Now, in some cases or in some diagrams or illustration, maaaring sabihin mo hanggang step 8. Okay. But just to be complete, kasi I included there even the reversing entries, although reversing entries are not mandatory. No, they are only for convenience, no, to facilitate bookkeeping. No, that's why you make reversing entries, no. But of course, from step 1 to step 11, talagang required yan. Okay, now, of course, if your accounting system is manual, talagang physically you have to to complete the procedures from step 1 up to step 11. However, if you are if you are using an accounting software or an ERP system, sa totoo yung mga iba diyan, like for example, hindi na dadaan pa ng sabihin natin na making a trial balance is just optional. Kasi pwede nga dumiretso ka na up to financial statement if you are using an automated accounting system, you are using an accounting software. How much more if you're using an ERP system like SAP? 'Di ba? Okay, so wala na ring preparation of the worksheet, no? Imagine that if it is automated financial statement, automated accounting system. Wala na mga worksheet diyan, diretso 'yan. Okay, now, step 1, ang bida dito yung source documents. So siguro naman alam natin yung mga source documents natin, no, yon ang proofs of transaction. Kasi sabi nga dapat objective tayo, and that this has something to do with the verifiability of financial information. Hindi pwedeng mag-record tayo without proofs. That will be a violation of the what? A qualitative characteristic of financial statements, which is ano nga yun? Verifiability. How can you verify if there are no proofs? No, you cannot even review the proofs because there is no proof at all. Kaya ito mga business documents na to, they are proofs of transactions. No? So sa step 1 pa lang, we collect transaction by having business documents. Now, the documents are accountable forms. Now, what makes a document accountable form? Kapag merong assigned unique number or code. No? Kaya natural, bakit may mga dokumento ba na walang numero? Meron. Kaya lang for all accountable forms, no? Ang dami-daming account, kailangan may number. Bakit? Because it makes the document unique. And you cannot account for the completeness of the transaction unless the documents are accountable forms. Okay? So you compile, you arrange the business documents supporting transactions. Now, step 2, journal. Sabi natin, dalawa lang naman ang sets ng book sa accounting. It's all, if it is not a journal, it's a ledger. If it's not a ledger, it's a journal. Journals are books of original entry. Ito yung unang set na ginagamit natin. Kaya pag sinabi natin to recognize an accountable event, it means to say we journalize. No? We journalize. Kasi yun ang unang-una nating ginagawa. Now, by the way, sabi natin input, process, output. Kapag gumamit na tayo ng journal, where are we in that in the stage of transaction processing? Where are we? We are already in the processing stage. No? Journal. Ibig sabihin, yung journal at saka ledger, so these are the means of processing transactions. Okay? Now, the journals being the books of original entry. Ano-ano yung mga journals na yan? Nako! A general journal plus, of course, the special journals. Okay. What makes them special? Kasi a journal becomes special if it is meant for a particular or a specific group of transactions. Ngayon, imposible naman na ang kumpanyang napakalaki walang tawag natin walang general journal. Kasi the general journal, once we use the special journals, the general journal serves as the dumping ground. Yung lahat ng hindi pwede sa special journals pupunta sa or re-record sa general journal. To recognize an accountable event means to record on the journal. To journalize means to record. To record means to give accounting recognition. No? Okay. So after the journals, then the next thing to do, we classify the transactions by posting on the ledgers. So nasa step 3 ka. Now, why do you have to group transactions? By natural, kailangan igrupo mo yung transactions. Otherwise, no? Kapag hindi ka organisado, paano ka gagawa ng financial statements? We need to classify. That's the reason why we group transactions. Similar transactions belong to one group. Another type of transaction belong to another group. And how can we do that? By posting on the ledger. Kaya pag sinabi natin journalize, we make journal entries on the journal. posting or classifying or grouping transactions, we post the journal entries. Hindi natin sinasabing post transaction, ha? We mean post journal entries to the ledger. Kasi ang pinopost natin doon sa ating ledgers are journal entries. 'Di ba? Laging ganon. Na pag sinabi nating ledger, dalawang klase na naman yan. We have general ledger and subsidiary ledgers. Ang tanong, ano bang mga account titles ang merong subsidiary ledger? Any accounting, in the real world, no? Any account title may have a ledger, a subsidiary ledger. Kunwari, let's say, natural lang, alam lang naman natin, accounts payable at saka accounts receivable subsidiary ledger, not knowing na kahit anong accounts, pwede mong lagyan ng ledger, subsidiary ledger. O kagaya ng inventory. Kailan nagkakaroon ng subsidiary ledger ang inventory? Stock cards. No? Do you not consider stock cards as ledger, subsidiary ledger? They are. No? They are subsidiary ledgers kapag perpetual system, di ba? Kaya sinabi natin pag perpetual system, meron mga subsidiary ledgers yung inventory, no? Bakit? Kasi ang ibig sabihin ng subsidiary ledger, it substantiates, no, a general account. Kagaya ng sinabi natin, cash in bank. Sabi mo, yung ba nilalagay ng subsidiary ledger? Depende sa company. Kunwari sabihin natin, yung cash in bank nila nakadeposito sa maraming bangko. Hindi ka ba mag-maintain ng subsidiary ledger per depository bank? Siyempre, kailangan mag-maintain ka ng subsidiary ledger per depository bank. O kung may Metro Bank yan, may BPI yan, meron Security Bank, may BDO. Hindi ka ba mag-maintain ng subsidiary ledger per depository bank? Kailangan mo yon. So, ibig sabihin, yung cash in bank, pwede kang maglagay ng subsidiary ledger. What about, let's say, machineries? Sabi mo, pwede bang maglagay ng subsidiary ledger? Oh, yes! Sabi mo ganon, bawat makina may acquisition dates yan. Di ibig sabihin, di ba nagde-depreciate tayo from the time that we acquire it or acquire any asset or any PPE item? Iba-iba yung makina, iba-ibang acquisition dates. Hindi ka ba magpe-prepare or hindi ka ba mag-maintain ng subsidiary ledger per machinery? Di ba? Kaya anything nor any account title may be supported by a subsidiary ledger that will substantiate the account balance. Di ba? Okay, so importante yan. May general ledger, mayroong subsidiary ledger. Kaya kapag ang isang account ay mayroong subsidiary ledger, we call that account a control account. Di ba sa auditing, no? Tandaan mo sa auditing, merong isang problem doon, or sabihin natin, nandun ka sa audit of accounts receivable. Tapos minsan nakalagay doon sa sa problem. Papakitaan ka ng parang general ledger, no, account, tapos nakalagay accounts receivable control. Hala, ano ibig sabihin ng control? Ang ibig sabihin may subsidiary ledger 'yon, no? So once an account has a subsidiary ledger, it's called a control account. Kaya kailangan yung balance nun, no, nung whatever control account na 'yon, yung balance na 'yon can be what? Disaggregated or something like decomposed, no? Or sabihin natin supported by what? Subsidiary ledger balances. Na kailangan nagtatali yan. Kaya nga sabi natin, kailangan yung GL account or the control account must always be reconciled with its subsidiary account or subsidiary ledger. Every month, ginagawa mo yun. At the end of the month, nire-reconcile mo yung GL sa SL niya. Kasi kapag nagkaroon ng diferensya, it has to be adjusted. It's either ang i-adjust mo yung tawag dito, yung general ledger account mo or your subsidiary ledger. Dapat laging balance yung dalawang yun. Okay? So, that's the story of having general ledger and subsidiary ledgers, di ba? Okay. Step 4, trial balance, no? Why do we make a trial balance? Kasi once, laging package deal yan, tandaan mo. Once na nag-journalize ka, magpo-post ka sa ledger. Once nag-move ang account balance sa ledger, general ledger, magkakaroon ka ng trial balance. Bakit? The movement of the GL account has to be tested. No? And how do you test the equality of the debits and the credits? By preparing a trial balance. Kaya kita mo, 'di ba? Initially nag-journalize ka, then nag-post ka sa ledger. Gumawa ka ng unadjusted trial balance. Okay? Unadjusted. Gumawa ka ng adjusting entries. O edi nag-journalize ka. Remember, adjusting entries should be journalized in the general journal. O, di ba? O, di nag-journalize ka. Gagawa ka na naman ng another trial balance. Ang tawag mo na ngayon, adjusted trial balance. In fact, kahit hindi ka pa nga nag-journalize formally sa GS, sa general journal, no? About on your adjustments. No, meron kang worksheet which is not a book. Worksheet is not a book. What is a worksheet? Worksheet is just a working paper or a work paper or an organizer of the accountant. No? In order to collect all those, all those accounts, for purposes of what? Purposes of presenting financial statements. Kaya baka mamaya niya hindi kayo mga adjustments diyan sa worksheet, hindi mo ilalagay dapat ilagay mo lagay mo sa general journal. Kaya yung makikita mong adjustments doon sa worksheet mo, kailangan gawan mo ng isa-isa na general journal entries. Anong entries 'yon? Adjusting entries. O, tandaan mo, kapag nag-journalize ka, nag-post ka sa ledger. Nag-post ka sa ledger, mag-move ang mga account balances. Kaya kailangan ng trial balance. Kaya tingnan mo, meron kang unadjusted trial balance, may adjusted trial balance ka kasi syempre may adjustments ka or adjusting entries ka. And then, finally, gagawa ka ng closing entries. O, saan mo gagawin yung closing entries? O, di sa general journal uli. O, closing entries. Ano ba yung closing entries? Or these are entries made at the end of the accounting period, in order to bring all nominal or temporary accounts, mostly yung income and expense accounts, that are being shown in the income statement, bring them to zero. Bring all of them to zero. Bakit? Bakit i-bring to zero yung mga temporary accounts na yun na nandun sa income statement? And in fact, even the income summary is also a temporary account. The drawing account is also a temporary account. So ano matitira? Ang matitira lang after the closing entries are the assets, the liabilities, and the equity accounts. Yun lang matitira. Lahat ng mga P&L accounts, wala yan. Zero lahat yan. Okay, bakit? Kasi gagamitin mo ulit yan sa next accounting period. Tingnan mo, kung yung sales account hindi mo binring to zero, di later on, pag ginamit mo yon the next accounting period, di may beginning, may running balance yon nahahalo doon sa next year's sales. And so with all other temporary accounts, dapat wala silang running balance when you start accounting for the next period. How will you do that? Kailangan at the end of the accounting period, lahat ng mga accounts na to, temporary accounts na ito, kailangan must be brought to zero balance para wala silang running balance so that you start clean, the next accounting period. Sabi mo, bakit yung assets, liabilities, tsaka equity, may running balances? Kaya nga sabing ganun Di ba, pa nagpe-present tayo ng statement of financial position, anong ginagawa natin? Di ba, as at or as of December 31 of the year. Ibig sabihin yan, cumulative or accumulated yung balance from the very start of the operation. Kaya nga real accounts sila Kaya nga sila yung true accounts. Kasi even at the end of the accounting period, they stay whatever is their balance. Kaya nga real accounts sila. Ano yung mga real accounts na yan? Yan yung mga tinatawag nating statement of financial position accounts, the assets, the liabilities, and the equity accounts. No? Kita mo yung yung income and expense, yung statement of income or income statement. Di ba nakalagay, for the period ended, ibig sabihin pang isang period lang sila. So the next period is a different story. Kaya kailangan, when you start accounting for the transactions of the next period, kailangan you have to start with zero. Start clean. Otherwise, hindi pwedeng i-accumulate yung lahat ng sales. Hindi pwedeng i-accumulate yung lahat ng mga expenses. No? Ibig sabihin, kunwari sabihin natin, 2023, pati yung 2022, yung 2020, humalo na. Bakit? Wala kang closing entries Kaya it is mandatory that at the end of each accounting period or the end of the reporting period, all temporary accounts must be brought to zero. Okay, through closing entries. Di ang gagawin mo, naggawa ka ng closing entries, di nag-journalize ka na naman. Di ba? Nag-journalize ka. Ipo-post mo uli. Kaya nga yung lahat ng temporary account, zero na. Okay. Tapos yung income summary, saan mo siya i-close? Di natural sa retained earnings. Kapag credit balance ang income summary, sometimes you use profit or loss summary, sometimes profit or loss lang, sometimes you use income summary account. Pare-pareho lang ibig sabihin yan. Okay. So yung income summary mo is close to retained earnings. Di ba? Or sa IFRS term, accumulated profit. Di ba? Ngayon, whether it has a debit balance or a credit balance, basta i-close ang income summary to retained earnings. Paano? Kapag credit balance ang income summary, ano ang retained earnings mo? Ika-credit mo. Diba? So, ibig sabihin, debit income summary and credit retained earnings. Kasi, credit balance yung income summary mo. To close the income summary, you have to debit it and credit retained earnings. What about if it is, let's say, a net loss? Di natural, debit balance yung income summary mo. Kapag kinlose mo sa retained earnings, ano mangyayari? The debit retained earnings and credit income summary in order to close the net loss to retained earnings. Di ba ganon? Alin lang ang mga buhay na account at the end of the period? Di natural, lahat lang ng asset, liability, and equity accounts. Nasan yung mga income and expenses mo? Temporary accounts lang yan. Patay silang lahat. Okay? Now, in a sole proprietorship or partnership, etong drawing account, is it a temporary account or a permanent account? Ang answer, temporary account din yan because the drawing account has to be close to capital account. So, ano lang ang buhay? Yung capital account. So, asset, liabilities, capital. Okay. Kaya ibig sabihin, pag nag-journalize ka ng closing entry sa general journal mo, ipopost mo sa general ledger, at nag-move ang account balances sa general ledger, gagawa ka na naman ng trial balance. Ano yon? Post-closing trial balance. Okay? So, post-closing, ibig sabihin after closing entries. So anong mangyayari doon sa post-closing trial balance mo? Ay papakita mo lang yung asset, liability, tsaka yung mga equity accounts. Nothing more. Okay? So yun ang ating now this process is repetitive. Paulit-ulit, recurring. Okay. Ngayon, sabi natin, no? So after the post-closing trial balance, tapos na dapat lahat. O ngayon, for convenience, pwedeng mag-prepare ng reversing entries, but voluntary lang ang reversing entries. Meaning to say, the company may opt to prepare reversing entries or not. Okay, and reversing entries are also journalized in the general journal at the beginning of the next accounting period. Bakit? Para maging convenient ang pag-accounting, no? Example, di ba, meron tayong accrued, bigyan ko kayong example. Kunwari, let's say, you take up as an adjustment, one of the adjustments, you take up accrued interest. So debit interest expense, credit interest payable at the end of the year. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng accrued? Sabihin ng accrued expense, it means to say unpaid expense. At the end of the reporting period, may entry ka. Debit interest expense, credit interest payable. Okay. Ngayon, pagdating ng next year, babayaran na yung interest. So sabihin natin yung interest na in-record mo, interest expense and interest payable is good for 3 months only. So sabihin natin 3 months, 3,000. Kunwari sabihin natin this is a a nominal interest paid for bonds, di ba? O nominal or unpaid interest of bonds, no? May bonds payable ka. So debit interest expense, credit interest payable. Okay, so 3,000. Palagay mo lang, that is good for 3 months from October to December. The following year, no? Bayaran na ng interest. Kunwari sabihin natin yung interest will be paid April 1 of next year. O di siyempre, ang mangyayari, yung 6 months interest will be equal to 6,000 pesos. Siyempre, panibagong usapin yung January 1 to March 31. Di that's another 3,000. Ngayon, kung may reversing entry ka, no? Kasi one of the entries subject to reversal is yung accrued expense. O di ibig sabihin, kung meron kang reversing entry na yung debit interest expense mo at saka yung interest payable mo na 3,000, the following year, beginning of the year, gumawa ka ng reversing entry. At ang reversing entry mo, kung ano yung adjusting entry mo, babaliktarin mo lang. So debit interest payable 3,000 and credit interest expense 3,000. Sabi mo, bakit naman napaka-abnormal naman. Interest payable is 3,000. Di pa naman nababayaran yun. And then yung interest expense mo, abnormal naman. Bakit 3,000? Credit. Di ba ang expense kailangan debit? Okay, so sabi mo. Pero sabi mong gano'n, pagdating, di may reversing entry ka, no? Pero pagdating ng April 1, di bayaran na ng interest. No? Magkano yung amount paid? 6,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung from October to December 31, 3 months yon. From yung January to March 31, 3 months din. Kaya, equal to 6,000. Kung may reversing entry ka, ano magiging entry mo? Alam mo kung ano magiging entry mo? Magde-debit ka ng interest expense na 6,000 at magke-credit ka ng cash na 6,000. Kaya kapag pinost mo yung interest expense na debit mo na 6,000, di ba doon sa inyong interest expense, meron kang credit na 3,000. Pag dinebit mo yung 6,000, ibig sabihin tatama na yung interest expense mo, automatic. Ibig sabihin yung interest expense na 3,000 na debit. Kasi di ba, meron kang credit na 3,000, tapos pinost mo yung payment na debit interest expense and credit cash, di ibig sabihin, magkakaroon ka na debit ng 6,000 ng interest expense. O yung 6,000 minus the debit of 3,000, automatic 3,000. And what is that? That is the interest that is applicable only to January to March 31. Automatic. Pero ang in-entry mo lang, nag-debit ka lang ng interest expense 6,000 and credit cash of 6,000. Pag pinost mo yan, tatama na yung interest expense mo. Sabi mo, di ba dapat interest payable? Tandaan mo, yung interest payable mo, dahil nagkaroon ka ng reversing entry, di ba, kinlose mo na yon or tama na, kumbaga yung interest payable mo is already zero because of the effect of the reversing entry. Kasi nag-debit ka na ng interest payable and nag-credit ka na ng interest expense. So, kung sumarado na, automatic yung interest payable mo. Kaya pagdating ng payment, ang gagawin mo na interest expense and credit cash. Hindi mo nahahatiin yung 6,000. Sabi mo, debit interest expense, credit cash, tumama yung interest expense per GL na talagang 3,000 lang for the months of January to March 31. Paano kung wala kang reversing entry? Ano mangyayari? Pagdating ng April 1, ang magiging entrada mo ay ganito, hahatiin mo yung 6,000. Magde-debit ka ng interest. Tandaan mo, wala kang reversing entry, ha? So wala pang balanse yung interest expense mo. Zero pa rin 'yon. O, di ba? Kaya ano mangyayari? Ang magiging entry mo ganito, hahatiin mo pa yung 6,000. Debit interest expense 3,000. Bakit 3,000? Yung from January to March di 3,000. Debit interest payable. Bakit? Hindi pa naman sumasara yung interest payable mo kasi wala ka namang reversing entry at the beginning of the period. So, ang mangyayari, hahatiin mo yung 6,000 mo. Magde-debit ka ng interest expense, 3,000. Magde-debit ka rin ng interest payable, 3,000, which is applicable doon sa last year mo na interest. Diba? Kaya debit interest payable, 3,000. And credit cash, 6,000. O di hassle. Hahalukayin mo pa yung ano, yung ito last year pala ito. Di ba? Kaya ang mangyayari niyan, hahatiin mo pa yung 6,000 mo. Ito pertaining to last year. Ito pertaining to this year. Di ba hassle? Kaya yung mga companies ay nagre-reversing entry para madaling mag-take up ng payment. As well as collection of receivable. Madaling mag-take up. Okay? So, ayun ang ibig sabihin natin. So, 4 lang ang nire-reverse. To take up or yung adjusting entry mo to take up accrued expense, accrued income, ano pa ba? Prepaid expense using the expense method. Unearned income using the income method. 4 lang yan. Yung mga depreciation, amortization, hindi yan inire-reverse. Yung mga bad debts, hindi yan nire-reverse. 4 lang ang inire-reverse. Kaya lang ang reversing entry, as I said, it's only optional. Di ba? So that completes the accounting process. At kung ikaw ay isang accountant, paulit-ulit yan, recurring. No? Meaning to say, ulit-ulit. No? Kaya minsan nakakasawa sa kauulit. Natural, as long as the business exists, you'll be doing that time and again. Okay? Nakakaumay ba? Natural, nakakaumay kung minsan. Kaya lang because you will be accounting for different transactions. Hindi nakakaumay, no? Bakit? Iba-iba yung transactions 'di ba? May challenge. Okay. Now, accounting equation natin, of course, you know this accounting equation, no? So, sino ba hindi nakakaalam ng accounting equation? Now, asset is equal to liabilities plus equity. Equity is equal to contributed capital plus retained earnings. Ano ba yung contributed capital? Di yan yung mga share pa capital mo, yan yung mga share premium mo, yan yung mga donated capital mo, lahat yan contributed capital. Okay. Ngayon, yung retained earnings mo, separate yan from your contributed capital. Unlike in sole proprietorship and partnership na, pag sinabi mong capital balance at the end of the period, well, it's a mixture or combination of the contributed capital plus any accumulated profit. Kaya makikita mo dyan, basta capital at the end na yan. O kumbaga, kombinasyon na yan ng accumulated profit at saka yung invested capital by the owner. Samantalang sa shareholder, sa corporation, hiwala yung ating contributed capital doon sa retained earnings. Okay? So, paano naman yung retained earnings? How do we get the total retained earnings or the retained earnings at the end of the period? O, edi natural, retained earnings beginning of the period. Ngayon, kung meron tayong prior period adjustment, we adjust the beginning balance of the retained earnings. Sabi mo, bakit pag prior period error, i-adjust mo? Bakit yung retained earnings beginning? Kasi po, any accounting error that affected profit or loss of the last or of the previous period, lahat nandun na sa retained earnings. Hindi mo na pwedeng galawin yung income and expense. Bakit? Kasi nga prior period error eh. So ang ibig sabihin, ano ang i-correct mo? Kapag understated ang retained earnings, understated ang net income of the previous year, anong gagawin mo? Dapat dagdagan mo yung retained earnings beginning balance. Paano kung overstated naman yung net income of the prior year? Anong gagawin mo? Di natural, ima-minus mo doon sa retained earnings beginning balance. So that, in the end, kailangan yung retained earnings beginning balance is adjusted. Di ba? Kaya nga may prior period adjustment na sinasabi. Okay. Plus the net income for the current year minus the dividends. Ang tanong, yung imina-minus natin dividends, ano yan? Distributed dividends? Hindi. Lahat na na-declare na dividends. Ima-minus mo na. Di ba pag nagde-declare ka ng dividend, anong ibig sabihin? Ano impact niyan sa retained earnings? You will capitalize a portion of retained earnings. Anong ibig ko sabihin na i-capitalize mo a portion of retained earnings? You will be charging the retained earnings. Ano ibig sabihin ng charging of the retained earnings? Meaning, you will debit a portion of the retained earnings. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng capitalized retained earnings or charged retained earnings. Ima-minus mo na once na na-declared na. Okay? Paano kung dividends in arrears pa lang? Ang dividends in arrears, wala pang accounting transaction dun. Ang dividends in arrears, ipapakita mo lang siya saan? Sa notes to financial statement. May journal entry ka sa dividends in arrears. Ano ibig sabihin ng dividends in arrears? Undeclared dividends. Di ba? May accounting transaction ka ba kapag may dividends in arrears? Wala pa. Kailan ka magkakaroon ng accounting transaction to be recorded, accountable event to be recorded? When it is already declared by the board of directors. Kaya yung nakita nyo diyang minus dividends, ito ay ibig sabihin deklarado. Kahit hindi pa na-distribute. Ima-minus mo na. Okay? So, retained earnings. So, sabi mo, bakit ma'am hindi isinama yung appropriated retained earnings? Kasi ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, total retained earnings. Natural, pag sinabi mong total retained earnings, it means to say it's the sum of both appropriated and unappropriated portion. Ngayon, kung ang sinabi mo dito ay retained earnings unappropriated, abay talagang ima-minus mo yung any increase in appropriation at i-add back mo yung any decrease in the appropriated retained earnings. Kaya tandaan mo, kapag nakita mo retained earnings, this means the total retained earnings. Both appropriated and appropriated combined. Pero pag nakalagay dyan, retained earnings free or retained earnings unappropriated, abay kulang yung formula mo ay kulang. Bakit kulang? Kasi yung effect ng appropriation, kapag nag-increase ka ng appropriation, ma-minus mo sa retained earnings free. Pag nag-decrease ka ng appropriation, i-add back mo doon sa retained earnings unappropriated. Kaya kukulangin yung iyong formula. Kaya tingnan mo kung ano ang nakalagay. Kaya kapag sinabi nating retained earnings, it is construed or considered to be the total retained earnings. Okay? Plus minus certain adjustments. Okay? Bakit? Marami kayang pwedeng makadagdag o makabawas sa retained earnings. Kunwari, example natin, retirement of share capital. Are there instances wherein retained earnings is affected by cancellation of the share capital? Answer, yes. 'Di ba? Kapag ubos na yung share premium, nakuha mo na yung share premium, no, yung the portion that is attached or a portion that is applicable to the share capital that is retired. Tapos meron pa ring balance. Ano mangyayari? Meron pa ring balancing figure na nasa debit. Ano na yon? Retained earnings na yun. Di maapektuhan ng retained earnings. Ganon din naman pag nag-reissue ka ng treasury shares. Pwede ring maapektuhan ng retained earnings. 'Di ba? Marami. No, there's so many, no, that can be that will adjust or that can affect retained earnings. Now, net income, dali-dali niya, revenue minus expenses plus any gains minus losses. Okay? So, those are the basic equations, not that we need to recall. Okay? So, whenever you are given a question that is so simple, that is so basic, unfortunately, may mga bata sa exam na nararatel sila pag nakita. Ang dali-dali ng question, lalong hindi na-answeran. Ninervyos. Bakit ang dali-dali na ako? CPA na ako. Bakit? Ang dali-dali ng question. Hindi nasagutan ng tama. Bakit? Sa sobrang nervyos. Kasi nakita yun, dali-dali ng tanong. Kasi tayo, ang expectation natin, mahirap. Lagi namang ganun sa board exam, lalo na sa board exam natin. No? Nakakalimutang aralin yung basic. Bakit? Ang ini-expect nila, mahihirap na tanong. Hala, nag-ano ng mga mahihirap. Nakakalimutang reviewin yung mga simple. Wala na. Naapektuhan ang result ng exam. Okay. Classification of account. It may be a permanent account, yung asset, liability, equity. Or it may be a temporary account or nominal account. No, revenue, expense, gain, losses, dividends. Mga temporary accounts yan. Di ba? Okay. So, ano ang journal entry? Ano adjusting entry? Ano yung prepayment? Pag sinabing deferral, ano ibig sabihin ng deferral? Postponement. Kaya pag sinabi mo deferred revenue or deferred income, ano ibig sabihin ng postponed income? Hindi pa income. Kailan magiging income? Kapag nagtrabaho ka na. Okay? So kung wari ang entity service type company. Meron siyang deferred income or unearned income. Kailan ma-earn yon? Kapag nag-render ka na ng service, ayun, ma-earn ka na. When the performance, sabi nga ng PFRS number 15, revenue from contracts with customer. So, recognition of revenue will undergo a 5-step model, no? Para mag-recognize ka ng revenue. At ang nakalagay doon, kailangan, no, that you have already performed the obligation. Because no performance of the obligation means no recognition of income. Kailangan yung nakalagay sa kontrata, no, na performance obligations mo, no? kailangan na kumpleto mo. O paano kunwari nakalagay sa kontrata, isang performance obligation. Tanong, yung obligation ba na-perform na? Okay, kapag ang answer ay positive, yes, then you will recognize revenue. Paano kunwari nakalagay sa kontrata, lima or 5 performance obligations. Na-fulfill na or na-complete yung 3, natira 2. Ang tanong, paano yung recognition ng revenue? You will recognize only the revenue for the 3 fulfilled performance obligations. Paano yung 2? Unearned pa yon, deferred pa yon kung nakabayad na si customer. Kaya magkakaroon ka ng deferred income or unearned income. Bakit? Kasi sabi sa 5-step model, kailangan daw i-recognize mo lang income when you have already fulfilled the performance obligation. No fulfillment, no recognition of income or revenue. Ganon. No, sabi mo madali lang pala yung PFRS number 15. Akala lang natin madali. Pero later on makikita mo maraming yung mismong model, okay, very easy to understand, but there are other complications, no, in order to perfect your recording. Di ba? Okay, so ganon, ano pa? Okay, accrued revenue, prepaid expenses. Ayan, meron tayong mga examples dyan, no? Closing entries, reversing entries, and even alam mo the easiest technique, no, in any accounting problem, no, be it financial accounting and reporting subject or advanced financial accounting and reporting or yung auditing problems nyo, marunong kang mag-T account. No, hindi ka accountant kapag hindi ka marunong mag-T account. Okay? Kailangan, ito talaga ang pinakamadaling technique for you to be able to come up with the correct balance of any account. Okay? Lalo na sa auditing, Okay. Let's answer the multiple choice questions. Number 1A, we don't have much time, so I will dictate the answers. Number 1A, number 2C, 3 boy, 4C, 5 dog, 6C, 7C, 8C, 9 boy, 10C, 11 dog, 12A, 13C, 14A, 15C, 16C, 17A, 18 boy, 19A, 20 dog, 21A, 22C, 23C, 24A, 25 boy, 26A, 27 is boy, 28 dog, 29C, 30 dog, 31C, 32C, 33A, 34A, 35C, 36 is dog, 37 dog, 38C, 39C, 40C, 41 is C, 42 dog, 43C, 44 dog, 45 dog, 46C, 47 boy, 48 boy, 49 dog, 50 is A, 51C, 52A, 53 is C, 54A, 55 dog, 56 dog, 57 dog, 58 dog, 59 boy, 60 C, 61 boy, 62C, 63C, 64 boy, 65 dog, 66 boy, 67A, 68 boy, 69C, 70C, 71 boy, 72A, 73C, 74 boy, 75 dog, 76 boy. Alam nyo ba ito mga yan? Ito, kagaya nito. Itong number 76, binigay sa board exam. Sabi mo, napaka-insulto naman sa kakayahan. Oo, binigay talaga sa board exam yan. Okay, kaya ang sabi ng mga bata, kala ho namin may trick eh. Akala nila may trick kasi nadadali. Talaga madali lang. Kasi basic nga lang. O, di ba? Okay, so na-shock sila. Ano to? Kung ano-ano mga review nila tapos ganyan ang mga klase ng question. Okay. 77C, 78 boy, 79 dog, 80 is A, 81 boy. Oh, ito binigay din sa board exam ito eh. Account number 211031 most likely referred to an individual vendor. Naku, pati yung yung account code, no? Pinakialaman ng binigay sa board. O 211, pag sinabi nating 211, 2, ano ba ibig sabihin ng 2? No? Siguro ang tawag dito, siguro ito ay isang what do you call this? Kasi 2 eh. So asset, liability, equity. Di pag sinabi nating 2, liability 'yan. 1-1, ako, palagay ko mga accounts payable yan. Bakit may 31 dito? Siguro individual vendor. O, yun binigay sa board yan. 82, letter A. 83A. 84 is C. 85, binigay din sa board yan, letter A. 86, dog. 87C. 88, dog. 89C, 90C, 91A, 92 boy, 93 dog, 94A, 95C, 96 boy, 97 dog, 98A, 99 boy, 100 is A, 101 dog, 102 dog, 103 dog, 104 C, 105 boy, 106 boy, 107 C, 108 dog, 109 A, 110 is dog. Okay, ito mga right or wrong na ito. Number 1. O lahat? Okay, number 1, ito right yan. Number 2 to 3, wrong. Number 4 to 5, right. Number 6, wrong. Number 7 to 9 is right. Number 10 is wrong. Okay? Fill in the blanks tayo. Number 1, ang pangalan ng father of accounting, the modern day accounting, is Luca Pacioli. That's the complete name of that Franciscan monk na kaibigan ni ano nga ba to? Ano nga ito? Sino nga ba yung kaibigan niya na very famous? Anyway, Luca Pacioli, the father of accounting or the modern day accounting. Number 2, service. Number 3, financial. Number 4, decision. Number 5, classifying. Number 6, Assyria. Okay? So, ito yung mga cradles of civilization, di ba? So, ito palang earliest accounting system, ano pa? As early as 35,000 BC in Assyria. Okay, which is now the modern day Syria. Okay, 7, auditor. 8, double entry. Number 9, public accounting. Number 10, expenses. Okay? So that ends our lesson for today. So make sure that you will read the 4 new lessons from lesson 5 to lesson 8. And I will be asking, hindi ko alam kung kailan ang ang first quiz natin. No? So siguro I'll be informed by the the assistant, no, the review assistant. Okay, so ano nga bang pangalan ni review assistant? Okay, so that ends our lesson for today. Okay, I'll see you next meeting.